It's on, you're on.
All right. Good evening and welcome to the January 23rd, 2020 meeting of the Acton School Committee. It's a school budget meeting and we'll begin our meeting tonight.
January 30th, you said 23rd.
Oh, 23rd, yeah, 23rd, 2020. And we'll begin our meeting tonight with the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, adjustments to the agenda.
If it's okay with you, I'd like to take a moment before we get into the new business. Why don't I would like to go over the norms to start the meeting, and then just bring up with the group some updated information on dates, and then we'll just dive right into Article 5, 6, and 7, if it's okay with you.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so for Kim, I don't know if you want to look in 5, 6 pages back. Everybody else I think has one that came to the meeting last. There are 6 stride statements that we always start our meetings with.
Okay.
And I'll just read those aloud to remind us of how we're here, so to speak. We'll strive to work together as a community that values the education our children receive at AES. We will strive to be fully present at the meetings by becoming familiar with the materials and by being attentive. We will strive to invite and welcome the contributions of every member and listen to each other. We'll strive to be involved to our individual level of comfort. Each of us is responsible for airing disagreements during the meeting rather than carrying those disagreements outside the meeting. We'll strive to operate in a collegial and friendly atmosphere, and we'll strive to be responsible for examining all points of view. Just wanted to remind us of our norms. And before we get into the actually looking at each line item of 3 articles coming up, I wanted to mention that I sent a communication to Carol, who is the secretary for the Warrant and Finance Committee. Sent her a quick email and our dates for meeting. It was either Monday, Tuesday this week. We're now into Thursday, and I talked to her on the phone today. And we had a chance to kind of go over what are our dates to make sure that Warrant and Finance knows what our dates are, because we've kind of established these back in December. The most important piece that was a question that kind of went out from the Warrant and Finance via watching their meeting was, when will we vote on, or when will you vote on, the Acton FY21 budget? That will be on Thursday, March 12th. That is our date. We thought we had a buffer date of the 5th. That no longer is a buffer date. Kim and I did some work together, and we need the 5th for a meeting. So we're proposing that the 12th remain the night that you will review in each article, and we'll vote on that. And then it was decided through Warrant and Finance, from, I don't want to speak for them, but from watching, and Dennis is here, from watching their meetings, they wanted a week-ish to take a look at, what you had voted on. And Dennis contacted me a week ago Friday, and set a date of Wednesday, March 18th at 6 p.m. here at school. I communicated that to you, the school committee, through my weekly update last Friday, saying that Dennis and I had spoken, and that's the night he picked. There was a reason why he couldn't do Thursday, but he wanted to do Wednesday, and the reason we wanted to do it here, according to Dennis, and you can clarify that, was there was already a meeting up at the town, right?
Right.
On Wednesday night, so let's just have the meeting here, was your preference.
Yeah.
What time's it going to be?
It'll be 6 o'clock.
6 p.m. on Wednesday the 18th, which then gives us plenty of time to turn that around and get it up to Jen and the selectmen by our drop dead date, which is the 24th of March.
That was the 18th, you said, John.
Yep, that's what you said, Dennis.
Okay.
Right.
I also said I knew something.
So that's what we're going to roll with moving forward. So all those dates have been clarified. I communicated with Carol. It was awesome. She got right back to me. So I think we're good moving forward. If
I do want to speak about your communication, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
Carol read that to me today when she got it. And she said something about passing it on to the rest of the Warrant Finance, and I says, of course. And I just want to compliment you, John, and your willingness to be respectful in working with the Warrant Finance Committee. And as the chair of the Finance Committee, and I'm speaking for everybody, it's very nice to be able to be working together and respectful like this. And this is why I just said to Kim before the meeting, your 6 statements in there about operating, I asked her if she'd send that to the Warrant Finance Committee, because anybody that's watched the Warrant Finance Committee this year will see that it's almost like you copied that from what I said, John, is how the Warrant Finance Committee, how I wanted to operate, and everybody agreed that that's how they wanted to operate it. So I asked Kim to send that to me and Carol or somebody in writing, because we're going to be next week, or 2 weeks, we're going to be start working on our policies and procedures for the Warrant Finance Committee, and where something in writing, it'll be a lot easier for me than talking about it.
Well, thank you,
I
guys.
just appreciate it. It's really great.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions around dates before we move on to the first article, which is 5? And for anybody new to tonight's meeting, just to kind of give you one, I'll give you a heads up of how we read this. We work from the left to the right, and you'll see, 2 years out, 17, 18, 18, 19, and then the 19 budget year, which is there's a gap there. It's on the left, says budget 19, 20. That's the year we're living in now. So that's our current financial situation for this given year to date. And then the 2021 is what we put in the budget for next year, starting July 1. The variance means whether there's a change in the number. If it's a hash mark, there's no change. If there's a number and there are no parentheses around it, that means that's a positive number. That means in this case, co-curricular stipends from last year to propose from this year to propose next year will be up $900. If there's brackets around it, that means it's a negative number. We don't use the negative sign in front of it, we use brackets. So if you see any numbers with brackets, that means that it's less, and that's what it is in the variance. And then, of course, when we get to the very bottom of the page, all your totals are there, so it's all done for you. But what I'd like to do is I like to take each item, and when we hit certain places in benefits, it's the same language throughout the entire, many, many pages of all articles in the budget. So I'll say it, kind of go over it once, and then as we see it reoccur, I usually just kind of move right past it. So for the first one, I just mentioned the co-curricular stipends. Looks like we're up about $900 from this given year. And then your notations, I forgot to mention that your notations give everybody on the committees an opportunity to see how we spend that money. What is that money allocated for would be the question, and that writing answers the question. Then I pause and I move on to the next one with stipend benefits. It's up $81 from this year.
Can I just say, did we
Please.
add any new stipends this
Yes.
year at all? We
Yes.
did.
We added an extra Green Club
Yeah.
stipend because we basically almost have a whole classroom
It's almost the entire.
this year.
That's good.
And
Entire
it
second grade.
takes 2 adults
Third grade.
to do,
Okay.
and they're very exciting children when they're doing Green Club. so.
We have very exciting advisors. It's Mr. D
Yes.
and Ms. Damaris. Oh, there's Ms. Damaris. Hi,
Yeah.
Patty.
And the other thing we added too is we also have a higher need for cash, which is our after-school
Yep.
help. And so I bumped it up from 2 days to 3 days.
So you have more of a need for that than for the.
Just a note on that. Sometimes it's like why the increase. That's kind of that's a result of proficiency based and looking at making sure every student's where they need to be at a certain time based on standards, not just going through the curriculum. And we're now offering cash with 2 kids as young as 4th grade. I don't know. I've heard some people say, yeah, we've always done that. I've never seen that. I never really heard that before. But we have 4th and 5th graders now that are receiving some extra help, and they're not IEP students. They just need to stay caught up on the curriculum. And part of that is this is where you need to be by this time. And if you're not, we can go back and rework it. So I foresee cash and summer credit recovery, not credit recovery, standards recovery, being just it's going to become a normal operating expense for us as time goes on.
Right.
Okay. Supplies. Supplies are up $400 within the cost center for co-curricular activities. Dues and fees is flat, no change. Club transportation, no change. Extracurricular stipends are up $700, and there's a notation for what those are. Stipend benefits, $57 increase. Coaches contracted services up $100. It's mostly referees. Repairs and maintenance up $200. Travel and conferences up $50. No change in supplies. Coaching dues, no change. No change in transportation. Total expenditures, as you can see when you look at it, are going to be up $24.87. And then you can see the variances, everything is totaled at the bottom. So I'm going to move away from 5 and go on to the next one if there are no questions.
There
Yeah,
is a
Dennis?
statement, John.
Please.
The Green Club thing, I call it.
Yep.
I have to come every Monday and pick up, or most Mondays, and pick up 2 of my grandchildren. They belong to this since it started. And the lectures that my 2 grandchildren give me, and I take it well. It's a losing battle. But to me, it's enormous what they've learned in this. And an example would be, I took my grandson, Blake, to this piece of land that he thought they overcut. And he looks at it and he goes, "Grandpa," I said, "What? What about the environment?" I lay that to really, I mean, nothing against the regular curriculum, but the emphasis, that's the very first thing that came to his mind, you know. And he says, "We're not gonna do this on our property, are we?" I says, "No." He says, "Well, I hope not," he says. So that's a real benefit to him explaining to me how you change the water filters in the school and the whole process. I mean, he really, both of them really do get an awful lot from it.
Great. That's cute. Good feedback.
Money well worth spent. Well spent, worth something.
Article 6 is student support staff. This is a fairly comprehensive article, so we'll start with professional salaries at the top. We have 1 school social worker, and there's per contract there's an increase there, $25.73. And then we get into the benefits. This is the first time we're going to see the benefits up $86, and there's benefit language over here we went over last time. If there isn't any specific question about what those percentages mean, you'll see that over and over again for the next few nights that we meet. And the group insurance there for this particular individual has changed, and I believe, Kim, with that number, that was a change in policy for the employee.
Right.
Right, that wasn't because of the rates, that was a change, an internal change.
They
Yeah,
went
okay.
From
One thing to another.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an increase of $788. Then we get into Maine State Retirement. You're going to see this a bunch now too as we get more into people. As we get into the staff, you're going to see the retirement expense. And then there's some staff development that needs to go along with this particular position. There's an $1,800 expenditure, and that's flat for this year, and that has to do with the licensing for that particular individual to do that job. Travel and conferences is flat. Supplies is flat. Books and periodicals, no change. Dues and fees, no change. Programs, that's where we get into the PBIS. You'll see that in other places, but as far as the social worker is concerned, that there's no up or down. It stays flat at $1,000. And then we shift gears into the nursing department at school. You can see the salary there is up $773 per contract. Again, benefits, I won't get into the language. It's down $74. In this case, the policy didn't change, so the number is down $762. And then we have the retirement piece through Maine PERS, which is up $32. No change in contracted services, no change in repairs and maintenance, and no change in travel and conference for the nurse. Now, when I flip my page, I got to turn my book around. I assume you do too.
Me too.
Okay. So, and you have this trusty old school device to keep me honest, because there's a lot of lines here. Nurses' supplies is up $400.
Can you just explain why? Yes, that she has a cot in the nurse's room.
Yeah.
That's duct taped. And so that was to replace
Replace
Cover.
that. Replace the cot.
That's
Buy
probably,
more
cover.
duct tape.
that's probably another one of those
Buy more
30-year-old
duct tape.
items.
Yeah, I know.
Replace cot,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
How old is that?
It's old.
It's probably original.
Yeah.
So it's 30 years old.
Yeah.
Nurses' dues and fees is flat. Professional salaries is, so we just shifted, here we've shifted over to the assistant principal instructional coach. That position per contract is up $2,055. Then with that position, we get into the professional benefits, group insurance, and Maine State Retirement. Those next three are up $330 and $85 individually. Travel and conference is flat, no change at $500. Instructional supplies, it's flat, no change at $500. Books and periodicals, no change, $250. Dues and fees, no change at $150. And here's some professional development for teacher workshop days during the summer to get some of our work done. And that is up $344. And then there's some stipends that fit within this cost center that have to do with teacher certification and recertification, and it requires professional staff to run those committees, and that is up $1,500. And then stipend benefits are down almost $400, $399. That's a reduction. No change in tuition reimbursement for teachers. That's flat at $24,000, and that's for professional learning and moving on with credits and degrees. Tuition reimbursement for the ed techs, no change at $6,000. And staff development for teachers attending professional development sessions. We just had one this week, a really good one with Patty's cohort 3 through 5. That's no change at $2,700. Travel and conference, no change. Supplies, no change. Now we get into library and media services, and we have the salary position. It's up $26.54 per contract. And then the substitutes for this particular position, no change at $1,200. And then we get into, I'll just try to group them together again, benefits at 91. I think I gotta go this way. Yeah, group insurance.
Sorry.
Right, group insurance would be next, would be less $926. No change in substitute benefits. I'm now, and then teacher retirement, Maine State Retirement, up 110. Just to get us all at the same place. I'm now on staff development for the library. It's flat, 200. Our software for the library is flat at $1,300. No change in supplies. No change in books and periodicals for the books for the library collection. No change in equipment. So now we move over to IT, and we're into the director's salary, which is up $1,987. Then we have benefits, group insurance. You can read those yourself. The insurance is down $926. Contracted services, no change at $500. Repairs and maintenance is down $3,000. Okay, it was 5, it was 8, it's now, we're looking at 5, so we're down 3. Photocopier service agreement, no change. Software maintenance agreement, down almost $4,000, $3,833. Telephone, no change. And supplies is down $600. I'm going to turn the page with you, and we're really close to the end of this one. Technology-related supplies, and you can see this over here, is keyless entry, security panel, and surveillance enhancements, and buyouts. That is up $6,575. Technology-related hardware for networking equipment, conversely, is down $10,000.
So is the increase in,
Yeah.
is that mostly because of the buyout? What is the increase?
The 67,575.
Yeah, the 6575, what's that mostly for?
The keyless entry system.
Yeah, both the MLTA and buyout, because that's not something we do annually. It's
Right,
a 4-year cycle that we usually do, and the keyless entry system are both new items entirely. So that's where that's coming from.
Any other questions? Because we're on dues and fees, which is flat, and then we have our total right there as our next line for that article. Okay?
John,
Yes, sir.
back on nurses' benefits,
Okay, yep.
why is workman's comp and retirement? And then down a couple, you have the retirement. Why is it retirement?
Okay, there's two
Combined with the-
things. Well, there's two things.
Workman's comp.
Main PERS
Yeah.
is, okay, so instead of social
Yeah,
security.
I understand that, yeah.
Yeah, so it goes to main PERS because she's part of the teacher's contract. But there's also in the teacher's contract, instead of, they get one half of 1% of the base, so it's like a couple $100 that can go towards a retirement account that they have set up.
So when they decide to leave here 20 years or whatever, they get that when they leave?
No,
Is that what that is?
They get that annually. There's nothing they get when they leave. Okay, so there's two.
Two different
groups.
agreements,
Yeah,
groups,
there's
two groups, yeah.
So the ones that have been here a longer period of time, they're
Yeah.
in a different schedule, and they have an amount that rolls up, and eventually, when they do retire, they get that money
A lump sum?
put into a retirement account.
Yeah.
Newer teachers, because we don't want to keep increasing a very large liability
Right,
to
you
the
could have
town.
$1 million in it.
Right,
You know?
so now the way the contract's written is new employees, or
Yeah.
new teachers that are not on that list, there's that one payment that's paid annually.
Okay,
So it's about a couple $100.
Yeah.
And they basically tell me what their retirement account is,
Yeah.
and I submit it.
no, that's fine.
That's,
Yeah.
so this is why there's the two different lines.
Yeah.
And the change between kind of a grandfathered group, and they're listed
Right.
actually in the collective bargaining agreement, to when she says newer teachers, it's not like this last contract. It goes back several contracts, several years that
Yeah.
this change was made.
Yeah.
So there's still quite a few of the teachers that are in the grandfathered group that are still working here at AES. We have many tenured folks.
Yeah,
So that'll change as time goes. Eventually, that liability, as Kim calls it, from a financial point of view, will change as retirement happen.
Now, under the teacher's contract, we had the nurse. We always had the nurse
Right.
because she had nowhere to be put
Yeah.
contractually like that. And
Yeah.
so she ended up there.
Yeah, I remember when
It's
she put
not
that.
something where a nurse would normally be.
right. And again, it isn't just that, it was I didn't understand.
Well, you
the
picked up,
workman's
you
comp and,
picked
Well,
right up on it, though. You-
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing too is the way that the state requires me to report to them.
Yeah,
Main PERS had to be pulled out of it had to have its own separate line.
Right.
So that's why you see all the teachers, all the ed techs, any administrators that have it, they all have a separate line item for main PERS because the state requires
Right.
me to separate it out.
and I remember when Ron Smith told the school that we had to set up a budget line with the money that
Yes.
we're liable for
Yeah.
to the people. And they didn't used to do that, they just wait
Right.
and so I understand it. I didn't understand it.
No, that's exactly, so thank you, Kim, for the clarification. Well, we're on our last one, which is Article 7. This is Systems Administration. It's a separate article. I'm going to start with the Board Secretary stipend. It's flat at $1,500. And then the benefits for that is up $20. Purchase professional services, we changed a couple of years ago down to $10,000, and that's flat and remains at $10,000. Board stipends and other professional services remain unchanged at $1,400. Liability insurance is up $500. Superintendent's salary is up $1,610. And then we'll get into, what is it, benefits, group insurance, and main PERS are all the next three. So 152 less, a reduction of 961 in the insurance, and an increase of $67 in retirement. Staff development, no change at 1,000. Cell phone, no change at 450. Business staff salaries, we're looking at a little bit of an increase from 4 days to 5 days, for an increase of $84.20. And that is, Kim, last year, maybe 2 years ago, last year, you went to 4 days a week.
Last year, yeah.
We're moving her back to 5 days a week for this next budgeted year due to workflow. So we're going back to where we
You'll see why in
were.
a couple more lines, and I'll
You'll
explain it.
you'll catch on it. We didn't want to get too much into that
Yeah.
now, but that was an administrative decision as Kim and I looked at what we have in front of us for the next year. Excuse me. Business staff benefits, in that case, up $829, with group insurance in that same cost center is down $1,435. No change in repairs and maintenance. Computer software agreement will be up $5,000. And postage, no change at $3,200. And we only have a few more items. Yep.
The computer software, we're changing programs then, right? I know
Yeah.
you've been thinking about it.
I tried you, it was pain.
Why don't you give that a little airtime? This is probably worth explaining,
Yeah.
because we've really worked on this.
It's, Blackbaud has decided not to do payroll. And first they pushed me to a payroll service, and that one flopped. So then they decided they were gonna keep it. Well, then they pulled out another Paycor payroll service. And after doing a lot of research and finding, there's just so many issues you have when you let a third party take over payroll. Whether it's the 941s getting paid, making sure the deposit goes in right, making sure they take the right amount of money. And those are all issues that I found that this particular company had problems with, and I did not want to go there. So working with Michelle and looking at the software they have at the town, that brought me to Aptifund, and that's part of the Harris Company. Aptifund has been around, they just haven't got into Maine. So I've been working really hard to get the bulk of the implementation costs that they want down, because they want my setup to go into
So
the
they
state of
can
Maine.
say, yeah, we're doing Acton.
So there's a little bit of like, okay, but their payroll system is really good. It has portals for all the employees so that they can look at their pay stubs, they can, and do all that. See their W-2s, their history, their accrued leave, they can see all their HR forms online, they can, if they want to make a change for their W-4s or whatever, they can do everything electronically. It also allows me cut down on some paper by not having to do direct deposits for everything. So there's a lot of advantages by going, but again, payroll stays in-house.
Right.
So that we know the 941s get paid. We do the direct deposits, very similar. John will get a file from me, John will put it through, and then has it approved through the bank. And the 941s will get paid the same way they've always getting paid. So I see a lot of time doing the implementation, and I'll probably spend most of the summer, doing a lot of the implementation. It's a little bit quiet before we get into it. There's a lot of good things with their purchasing too. Everything again, teachers can get things from Amazon and load all the detail right into the system, and it comes to me for approval, and I can, so we keep all the detail of everything that gets ordered,
Yes.
which is really cool. So there's a lot of advantages, so it's why it's a little bit more money, but I think in the long run, it gets us to go. I can also see it's like after we get it going, and we get it all moved over, it actually should decrease my work in
it
the
should pay
long
for
run. So
itself.
later on, it'll be going right back down. So that's kind of the plan.
It's a good plan.
That's where we are.
I assume, Kim, that, I know I never should, but This is part of the one the town's changing to also, because they're getting rid of Trio.
They're moving to another fund that's from the same company, though.
Different
yeah.
kind of system,
It's
because
just-
this is for
It's not the
schools.
Trio system.
Right, it's a newer system that Harris Company has.
So, I mean, so you guys will be on the same system, is what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I assume that's the total goal, and make it better for everybody.
It makes it nice because our annual cost actually is a lot less than if I had just had to buy
Sure.
it myself.
Right.
Because now I'm part of the Department of the Town of Acton.
Yeah.
So my price is a little bit less.
Right,
than-
because of that.
Because of that.
Yeah.
So that was one of the other important
So
parts,
you
to
know,
be on the same page.
I guess that's why I wanted to bring that out.
Well,
because
we
it
also,
does-
Kim did some sharp negotiating, because we must have had 1,500 meetings on
I'm
this.
sure she did.
And we were looking at everything. Matter of fact, the decision on this was made just before it went out to you guys via email, so,
Yeah.
you know, it was prudent to say, hey, we're part of the town, and the town's already got your contract, you want to come into Maine, so.
Yeah.
This wasn't an easy decision, and we put a lot of time into it,
Sure.
so that's the kind of the, why we're where we're at.
Makes
I'm sure it'll work
perfect
great for us.
sense to
me.
Yeah.
The other thing too is when they get ready to do the audits, by having the same company have the same systems, it's gonna make the audit a little bit easier too.
It should.
So,
Good job, Kim.
Okay, so advertise, there's only a few more on the last page. Advertising is flat, $1,200. Traveling conferences is flat. Supplies, again, no change. Dues and fees, up $200. And bank service charges are down $50. So overall, you can see your variances there for that last cost center. So that's it for each
On the right page.
article tonight. Yeah, your last one for number 7 would be on the back side. That looks correct.
Okay, that-
Yep, your last.
number 7. So the bulk of the increase in Article 7 is really changing our software program and putting him back up to 5 days, which is, she's been being paid for 4 and working 5 anyway, so I think that makes total sense.
Yeah, and we're in our this will be our second year of a collective bargaining agreement, so that's reflective in here too. Wherever you see per collective bargaining agreement that was work that the negotiations committee did, so
Right.
you'll see that again in the next couple of budgets. We already know where we stand for the next few budgets on that, because they're 3-year contracts. Dennis, just not to go too far off the agenda, but we're doing line by line tonight, as you can see. Do you think when warrant and finance gets together at the table, they only need would they only want the we'll give them the whole information, but those totals at the end of the table kind of give you the bigger picture of what's in the table?
Yeah.
I might recommend that we look at that, article per article, what's up or down in Article 6.
Both ways.
And then if
Yeah.
somebody's interested, they could go and find that, and by
Exactly.
then we'll be well versed, probably, I would hope, to answer any question you might have.
Exactly, when the warrant finance gets it. And again, I'd like to thank Kim. I got a very positive response from Kim sending that stuff out to everybody the next day, and thank you, Kim.
So everybody has it, yeah.
And they were very glad to have it.
Okay.
I don't know how anybody's gonna be when it comes to the budget thing, but they were glad to have the information anyway, so promptly. And they are not going to have this budget 7 days prior to our meeting. It just does not work. You know, I mean, when you guys vote on the budget on the 12th, Kim and Jen will go back and forth on Friday, however you do it, so,
That's
They
on
send
the
her an email. Boom, I'm done.
13th.
yeah, okay. But they say, I don't know the whole
They'll get it
process, so
to-
I'm not gonna put my
The
2
warrant,
cents
the
worth
warrant
in.
finance committee will get it on Friday, the
Friday.
13th.
Yep,
They
And
will
that,
get it
and
the
that is
next
what it
day.
is.
yep.
And that's right.
That's what's
And
been
I-
approved from the school committee.
Really?
And that is what the chairman has said.
And
And this is what the
then,
town clerk has said,
and then,
so.
and then it's 7 days,
Oh, that's why.
it's 7 days until,
Because of the leap.
6 days.
6 days of the
6 days to
So
the
we don't
18th.
get too
Yeah,
far in.
which is plenty.
Yeah.
Usually files whatever.
If I could stray from this just a little, now we have that. And I'm glad Mike's here.
29 days.
Because this is it goes back to a conversation, you know, I had last year, John, and this is on a different part of the budget. Mike Corey hired a teenager, just happens to be my granddaughter, to do filming.
Uh-oh.
And
You said that.
she's kind of a shy young one. And she's doing a pretty good job. The different committees have been very positive with her, patient with her. And Mike is the type of person that isn't, was my observation, what my grandchildren tell me, isn't really an outgoing person. He can speak. This is what the kids are telling me, okay? And when Caitlin started working for Mike, she was very nervous, of course. And since then, she has said, I can't believe what a nice guy he is, okay? And
We all say that.
no, you never know where it's going when you do your money.
We all say that, don't we, Mike?
Yeah, and when she has a little problem setting up, she gets on her phone and does whatever, and they talk back and forth, and he walks her through it. Mike is a huge mentor to Caitlin. Caitlin has 2 jobs in town. She is a junior firefighter taking EMT stuff, and she's taking it down to vocational school and doing this here. And I really want to thank you for what you're doing, Mike. Not just because she's my granddaughter, because I believe 100%, and you're going above and beyond to do what you need to be doing as a supervisor, I guess. That being said, John, last year I asked you about hiring a couple of kids. And I'm not looking at big money. And I'm looking at maybe, I'm just gonna throw out this dollar amount, $5,000. To have a couple of kids that might be, need something. Say if you're working 2 or 3 days a week in the summer, it's $12 an hour, so you're talking $5,000. This town offers our children virtually nothing, especially when they get up in the high school age. And if the parents work, they can't take them to Sanford to work, they can't take them here to work. And we did this for a lot of years. When the state used to have a program, I used to get kids there when the state stopped that. Then we used to hire 2 or 3 kids during the summer or whatever school committee allowed. And with the drug infestation that we have today, and we all have people that we know and love dearly that are gone because of it, it's an alternative to some kids at risk. And to me, if $5,000 out of a $7 to $8 million budget in this town, to save some young kid's life and get them in a different direction and give them some self-worth that they might not be getting at home, I just think it'd be money well spent. And if I had the money, honestly, I would give you the money to pay them. And that's how strong I believe in it, and that's why I applaud Mike. Great job, Mike. As a citizen, a grandparent, whatever, I'm very grateful for what you've been doing.
Thanks. I'm glad she came aboard too. She's a good asset too to the team.
Good. So we finished with our,
Yeah, it's up to you to close the meeting.
yeah, anybody have anything else they want to
Just thank you for listening to
talk
me.
about? We don't need to vote on that, though.
Okay. There are some committees that do.
So we're all set for tonight? And our next budget meeting is?
Our school committee meeting is
Yeah.
not,
Committee, February 13th.
it'll be, yeah, right after.
13th.
So
No,
nothing
you're
next
not gonna
week,
hear
and
about
we
Right,
meet
week
again.
off, and we meet for our regular school committee with budget to follow. I'll try to keep that, we have a few items we have to take on in that
I
school
just heard
committee meeting, but I'll try to
that.
keep it thin so that we, we can move right to this.
Figure things out.
So that is
Judy
in
and I will go over the
February
agenda
already.
next week.
Okay.
Oh, February.
All right, then I'll look for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 5:40. PM.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? So moved.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight.